What's going on, guys? Welcome to AFC Update, where I, your host, Tosi, breaks down all the latest things to do with Arsenal Football Club. Today is June 23rd, 2017, and I have a hell of an episode for you today as Mbappe Geddon is in full swing. Multiple publications have come out of France saying that Arsenal have made huge progress in this move. We're also going to talk about some of the players who could be leaving this summer. And then lastly, I'm going to take some questions from Twitter. So without further ado, man, let's get into it. First things first, let's talk Mbappe. So this morning, around 7 in the morning, I woke up and my phone was buzzing. I was getting a lot of mentions. My timeline was going a little crazy. Get French Football was putting out all these articles talking about Mbappe. Speaking of Wenger, Mbappe's family wants him to come to Arsenal. So the first one was L'Equipe comes out and says that Arsene Wenger's been on the phone with Mbappe every day for like 3 or 4 days, and that he's been telling people around him that he's confident in the signing of Kylian Mbappe. Then Le Parisien puts out an article where Mbappe's cousin is quoted as saying, if he signs for Arsenal tomorrow, don't be surprised, it's because of Arsene Wenger. This might have been a few days ago as well, but just, throughout this whole timeline, things get lost. But this is huge. This could be gigantic for Arsenal, and it could be a lot bigger for Arsene Wenger, who, for all the shit he takes, and some of it's deserved, all the criticism he gets, there's one thing you have to appreciate. It's the fact that he is able to tie down and sign these star players for Arsenal again and again and again. Mesut Ozil said that he came to Arsenal because Arsene Wenger has always been a big fan of him, and he spoke on the phone with him. Granit Xhaka said the same thing. Alexis Sanchez said Arsene Wenger was a big reason in his decision to come. So I don't know what Wenger is telling these guys on these phone calls. I don't know if he's putting them in the sunken place, but that shit is working, and hopefully it does with Mbappe too. The fee is rumored to be around 120 million. Personally, I think this would be it wouldn't make up for last season missing out on the Champions League, but it would let us know that it's a one-off and this club does not operate that way, going down to lower levels of European football. There's still a bit of ways to go. Zidane, they're saying he was in contact with Mbappe, then they're saying he wasn't. So that's a little bit in the air, but honestly, if this goes through, man, it's huge for the club. It's huge for everybody. So let's just pray on it, and that's it. All right, I don't want to talk about anything until it's official anymore. I don't want to jinx this shit. I don't want this to be another Higuain scenario, another Suarez scenario, because if you remember, in that summer, we were chasing Suarez so much, we didn't go for our backup, who was Higuain, and I don't want to see that happen by chasing Mbappe so much and we don't get Lacazette. But like I said, I'm going to stop talking about it because I'm going to go crazy at this point. Let's get into now some of the players who could be departing Arsenal. And it all starts with Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, who apparently, as according to The Independent, is going to be, could be leaving Arsenal, and Arsenal are ready to sell him for $25 million to Liverpool. This sounds like complete bullshit to me. I mean, I can name 3 or 4 reasons I don't believe this. A, Liverpool have Sadio Mane and just signed Mohamed Salah. So where is Chamberlain going to play? Down the middle? I really don't think so. Then you want to talk about a player who's Arsenal through and through, has time for the club. It's really Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Guys like Keon have talked about him and said that he goes to the Invincible screening documentaries and he stays after practice to talk to guys. So I think he's too invested into the club to be ready to give up after having a breakthrough season, really, for the first time in a long time after being stagnant for a while. And mainly the reason I don't see this happening is $25 million is insane. I believe his contract is running down, but still, $25 million is nothing in today's day and age. There's no way that happens. So I'm going to give the likelihood of this transfer a 2 out of 10. Then Giroud, the man of controversy, the man that splits the Arsenal base in half, the Arsenal fan base, I should say. Goal.com is saying that West Ham are confident of signing him with a £20 million bid and $100K a week. I could see this happening. He might want to stay in London. West Ham, they're not a big club, but they're not a small club. They're, everybody knows West Ham, so he could end up going there. They're saying they're going to give him around $100K a week. I really don't think that's a good idea for West Ham, especially what they're saying on a 4-year contract. The last thing you want is a 33, 34-year-old Giroud on 100K a week, and you don't know what to do with him because he can't even fucking move anymore because he's losing so much mobility. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's still one of the best target men in the game, and he's a great plan B for us, but I don't know if that's worth it for West Ham, unless it's really hard for them to get transfer targets these days, maybe. But those two I can't really see happening. And then the last one is Kieran Gibbs. They're saying that he could be leaving the club soon, and they're saying that he's looking for £80,000 a week. I don't think any football club on earth is going to give that to Kieran Gibbs. He's too passive. He's too weak. He hasn't played regular football for years. It's just not going to happen. And that's about it for Want-Away Arsenal player rumors for today. Let's move on to hashtag AskTosi, where I'm going to be taking some of your questions from Twitter. First is Sonya Boy, at Sonya Boy, his name is Joel. He's actually a great guy on Twitter. If you guys get a chance to follow him, you should. He's a good friend of mine at this point. Were you Wenger in or Wenger out at the end of last season? At the end of last season, if we're talking about the FA Cup time, when the FA Cup was over, I don't think it was officially announced that Arsene Wenger was staying, but I had heard a few things. There's a few people close to the club that had let me know he's staying. And basically at that point, I'm ready to get behind him. You know, I became an Arsenal fan during the Invincibles era, and there's still a lot of I still hold Arsene Wenger in a really high regard, but I have been Wenger out a lot of times. I mean, it's hard to take 5-1 losses to Bayern and not say we need a different manager, but at the end of the season, right now, I'm Wenger in. He signed a contract. I'm here to support him. That's my job as a fan, so that's what I'm going to do. The next one is coming from Cal, at Alexis Goal. Once again, somebody else on Twitter who's just awesome, and you guys should definitely give him a follow. Thoughts on Mbappe, Alexis, Ozil taking us to the league title next season? Yeah, no thoughts, just prayers on that one. Hopefully we get him. But if Mbappe comes, I can't see anyone having a better offense than us in the Premier League. The next one is from Jazz, at Jazz AFC. Kieran Gibbs valued at $15 million. Discussed. I mean, like I was talking about it before. He's not really a player who should be worth a lot more than that. $20 million is max for me. He's 27 years old. Can't start on his current team. Really has a long run of games starting, so I just can't see that. I think it's too little too late for Kieran Gibbs. He should have been making these advancements and these demands in his career a long time ago, not right now. So he's one of those sad cases of a player who's too nice, too passive, and really fucks things up for himself. Next one. At Patrick Timmons 1, Patrick says, Arsenal's most underrated and overrated players. Well, I'm going to go 1-1. I think our most underrated player right now is Granit Xhaka. I think that he gets a lot of stick for individual errors or things that are kind of like unique in how they happen, like the red card against Swansea or certain performances where maybe he wasn't up to the speed of the match. But it's his first season in England, his first season at Arsenal. He's got insane pass completion rates. His ability to turn defense into offense like that is like one of the best in the world. He's a vocal figure. He's somebody we need there. And like I said, there's been matches where he just controls the game for us, especially along that last stretch of games at the end of the season. He was a big part of us regaining this organization in midfield. So I think he's the most underrated player at the club, and I think next year you'll see him at his level, and it's going to be refreshing for a lot of fans and supporters who were expecting more. I think you will see more. Overrated, I'm not going to say overrated, but I do want to say this, and people are going to call me crazy, but Lauren Koscielny this season, I think he's still been our best defender, one of the best in the league, but I think he's gotten away with a lot in the sense that Mustafi and Gabriel have taken a lot of criticism, and in some matches, I think it's been Koscielny making errors, it's been Koscielny not leading where he hasn't gotten that criticism. And not to say that he deserves criticism, but if we're being honest and we're watching the game without any bias, he has had parts in his game that have regressed a little. That comes with age. Now, the thing I was hoping would progress a little with him was his ability to lead, his ability to get the guy next to him more involved, more in tune with the game as the players we have next to him right now. Now, I don't fucking blame him for not being able to communicate with Gabriel, because Gabriel doesn't know anything besides hi and bye in fucking English. But, Mustafi, he's young, and for a center back anyway, and it's his first season holding. These are players he should be helping grow into Arsenal regulars like Mertesacker did. Now, I know Koscielny's never been the most vocal of guys, but I was hoping it was something that would grow into his game. But I can't hate on the guy. He's an Arsenal legend through and through. So I'm not going to say overrated, but I will say something people give him a lot of passes on, or some of his performances this season he's gotten a lot of passes on. Let's see now. At Iconic Sanchez, best Arsenal moment for you. Best Arsenal moment for me, and this is going to sound a little bit crazy, even though we've won FA Cups, we've won 3 of them, and, you know, I was a fan watching games during the Invincibles. I don't think while I was watching the Invincibles I was old enough or in tune enough with the sport yet to be able to appreciate everything, so I'm going to rule that out a little bit, although I was watching games regularly. The first Arsenal game I can remember really where I was totally like into it was probably the 2006 season where we left Highbury. But my best Arsenal moment is definitely beating Barcelona 2-1 at the Emirates, because it's the only, in my time as an adult, it's the only time that I've supported Arsenal, that I've been able to appreciate Arsenal, where I've seen us play at that level of an elite European club, at a Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Barcelona. I mean, we tore them apart. And I know I'm kind of discounting the entire 2006 Champions League campaign, but like I said, that was probably the first season I started watching Arsenal super regularly. So if I'm discounting that, my best Arsenal moment where I was just emotionally in tune with the game and appreciating everything was 2-1 against Barcelona. Jack Wilshere ran the game. Fabregas, Nasri, and Van Persie were completely in sync up and down the pitch. It was just beautiful to watch, and it's something I hope we can get to that level again. So, yeah. Where else can we go? We got some more questions here. At Jockified, Jeff says, who do you think will leave? Personally, this summer, I think Kieran Gibbs will leave, but I think he'll go for a lot lower of a price than he thinks himself, and he'll get a lot less money than he thinks. I think Olivier Giroud could leave. If we do sign another forward, it's going to be tough for him because I know Wenger wants to keep Welbeck, and then he's going to sign a forward, and Alexis Sanchez plays as a forward, and then Theo Walcott's probably going to stay, so I just don't see room for him, even though he's a varying option to them. Also leaving this summer that I could see, maybe Santi Cazorla, as his fitness kind of starts to go on him and as his body starts to deteriorate, could look for a move for somewhere he could see out his career more comfortably than the Premier League. Other than that, players leaving, what did I say? I said Giroud, I said Gibbs, I said Cazorla. That's about it. I don't see a lot of departures. I mean, people are saying that there's going to be this mass exodus, but these players, they have to get signed by clubs, and a lot of our squad played like shit last season, so yeah, that's going to be it on that one for me. And I'll take one more. At 95 till infinity, Luke says, do you think we'll have a great window, or do you think we'll just sign our secondary targets like windows of the past? No, I think Arsene Wenger knows, like, this isn't other seasons where he's felt this like comfortableness about definitely finishing top 4 every season and having Champions League. I think this season he knows that he has to sign these superstar players like Mbappe, like these Lacazettes, or these young budding stars like Thomas Lemar as well, because not that Mbappe isn't young, but Mbappe is more established, but I think he has to make these signings, because the first year you don't make Champions League, you can kind of snaggle him in saying, oh, we'll make it next year. But the second year you don't, and you're just a Europa League club now, you fall a level, and then you might never be able to sign those type of players again. I don't think he takes the risk again. I think we sign either Lacazette or Mbappe. I think we sign Thomas Lemar, and then I think that'll be it. But when you're talking about Kolasinac, who was in the Bundesliga team of the season, Kylian Mbappe and Thomas Lemar, you're talking about, that's an insanely good window for a squad who is full on players. We maybe might go for Jack Butland. That's what papers are saying, but I think that's going to be more towards next year as we look to replace Peter Cech when he finally ages out of being able to play regular first team football.